Hey guys, I'm back on my BS again, as it were, as the cool kids are saying. Back here at the intersection of Chestnut, Horner, and 9th, you see the burned out house. And I spoke to you a couple weeks ago about how this house, had caught fire twice over 2 years and wasn't placed on the condemnation list till folks embarrassed them into it. And then while they were here, they could have easily got another 3 condemnations and 3 or 4 trash violations, and they didn't bother to do it. And let's just say I don't assume things, okay? I had access to the list, the spreadsheet that tells me when these things are condemned or if they're condemned. I wasn't making it up. I don't know, a few days after that, it dawned on me that there's a reason why our condemnation list is only, sits a little bit over 100 properties, and it doesn't go too high above that. Even though you could walk around this town and find dozens that need to be on there, they won't do it unless you absolutely force them and embarrass them into doing it. In this case, it was kind of ridiculous because this burnout shell stood here for 2 years, as opposed to the one on Milford Street that got demolished in the 5 days. It just made them look too bad. Okay, so back on my subject here. Why do they restrict the number of houses on the condemnation list? It's not an accident. They're not lazy. They're doing it on purpose. And the reason is that the city of Clarksburg went into federal court, Shaffer Enterprises versus city of Clarksburg. They argued that once houses are on our condemnation list, they automatically proceed to demolition regardless of the reason. And the reason for that is Mr. Shaffer had fire marshal inspection, engineer inspection, both of which said the house is structurally sound. The utilities were hooked up. There was no way to justify demolishing that house except to say that it had been condemned too long, and it's our policy that we condemn after 2 years. And they said, if you make us move this house off the condemnation list, it will destroy our policy, and then we'll have to litigate every single house that we demolish. And that's the last thing they want to do, because by their own admission, they demolish for things like, no trash service. Okay, so they're intentionally keeping the condemnation list short, because if they were to condemn every house that deserves it, would run into the hundreds of properties. And then they couldn't possibly argue that we move everything to the demo list after 2 years. And since they do about 50, sometimes 70 demos a year, they're gonna keep that number right around 100 to 130. Otherwise, it breaks their policy. It destroys their policy, would no longer hold up in court. That part I assumed, but it's a pretty strong inference, folks. I'll holler at you later.